Hello. Today I'm going to speak to you about a Roman author named Lucretius. Lucretius was born in Italy in 99 BC. It is unknown what his social status was and who his family was, but it is believed that he could have either been a member of the upper-class Lucretii family or possibly a former slave and freedman of the same family. Growing up, Lucretius was a student of the Greek philosopher Zeno. Throughout his life, Lucretius had no military or political career, but instead he dedicated his time to studying the philosophy of Epicurus. It is generally believed that Lucretius's patron was Memmius. Approximately 44 years after his birth, Lucretius committed suicide in 55 BC after becoming half mad from drinking a love potion. To the right is a sculpted image of Lucretius. Unlike many of the authors of the time, Lucretius is known to have only one written work. His literary work, De Rerum Natura, translated into English as On the Nature of Things, is an epic philosophical poem which is based off of the teachings of Epicureanism. De Rerum Natura was written by Lucretius around 60 BC, but was not finished during his lifetime. Ultimately, Lucretius's work was published by Cicero. Epicurus was an ancient Greek philosopher who founded the school of philosophy called Epicureanism. The philosophy of Epicureanism was the basis of developments in science. According to Epicureanism, everything is made up of little bits of matter called atoms. These atoms are the building blocks of everything and travel through space freely. As a result of the movement of these atoms, according to Epicurus, everything happens. Not only does Epicureanism deal with atoms, but it also deals with the idea of pleasure. Epicureanism was based off of the idea that pleasure is the greatest good. Good things result in pleasure, while bad things result in pain. Epicurus teaches that all people are to strive for the absence of bad things and pain. In order to attain this greatest good, you must live a life of modesty and mental pleasure instead of physical pleasure. Ultimately, Epicureanism taught that the purpose of life was to live in a tranquil state. Lucretius's work, De Rerum Natura, is composed of 6 books, which are organized into 3 pairs. Generally, the books are about atoms, human beings, and cosmology. The first pair of books discusses atoms. It talks about how atoms are in constant motion within objects and about how atoms make up all objects. The third and fourth books deal with human beings, the anatomy of them, and the theory of the senses. Finally, the last 2 books are written in regard to the origin and development of the universe. Initially, when De Rerum Natura was published, it was received well. People were interested in how the earth was created and how human beings came to be. But not long after, people stopped reading it and ultimately ignored the poem. By the 8th century, only one copy of De Rerum Natura is said to have remained. Not until the Renaissance was Lucretius rediscovered and honored by philosophers. Unbeknownst to many, Lucretius is widely known for being a predecessor of Charles Darwin, a man who is known for the contributions to evolutionary theory. Lucretius's full name is Titus Lucretius Carus, and he was one of the first persons to discover that everything decays eventually. Here on the screen is an excerpt from De Rerum Natura. It is from the beginning of Book 1 and opens with an invocation to the god Venus. In English, the first half reads, Rome, delight of gods and men, dear Venus, that beneath the gliding stars makest to teem the many-voyaged main and fruitful lands. For all of living things, through thee alone are ever more conceived. Through thee are risen to visit the great sun. Before thee, goddess, and thy coming on, flew stormy wind and massy cloud away. For thee, the daedal earth bears scented flowers. For thee, waters of the unvexed deep smile, and the hollows of the serene sky glow with diffused radiance for thee. Finally, here's my bibliography. Thanks for listening.